Hi, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild. Today we're going to take a look at the 1 to 4 player game Obsession by Kianta Games. Let's go ahead down to the table here. I'll give you a general idea how this game plays, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to give you my final thoughts. Okay, this is a typical setup for a 2-player game of Obsession. The base game can play between 1 to 4 players. And there is solo mode in the game that we're not going to go over, but it's pretty cool. Things of note in the game is you're going to have different numbers of servants to hire based on the player count. You're always going to have 2 under butlers, which are these guys here. You're going to have a valet per person, and you're going to have a lady's maid per person and 2 footmen per person in this pool. And that is it. You're not going to get any more. That's all that's available, and it's first come, first serve. And there's ways of stealing servants from other players and stuff, but in general, the servants that are out, that's all you have. Each player is going to start the game with, we're going to go over some advantages here in a second, but you start the game with 1 footman, 1 housekeeper, 1 butler, and 1 valet, and 1 lady's maid. You will also start the game with a reputation of 1, and these are the starter tiles that you start with. You also get 4 family cards. So you'll get each player will have 4 family members that match their house. And each house has a special rule. Like this is the York family. The York family gets a bonus footman. This is the Cavendishes. They start with a little slightly higher reputation of 4 instead of 1. Also, what's really nice is you get these really cool boxes in the game that you can store all the components needed for each of the houses. So you just hand out the box and they're ready to go. So the game itself is going to take over 4 seasons. And the goal of the game at the end of the 4th season is to have the most points. Whoever has the most points has successfully courted one of the Fairchild children. So at the beginning of each season, you're going to flip over one of these cards. And these cards are going to match the color of one of these rooms. At the end of this season, whoever has the most points for that room type will be able to court one of these 2 characters, and they will go live in their house for a season. And they have all sorts of various different advantages, and you can look at them for how they're going to help you out. And at the end of that season, when we go to the next courtship round, that player that had that Fairchild will have to return it here, and the next player will get it. In addition to winning one of them for a season, you're also going to get a victory point. The victory point cards are going to be victory points at the end of the game, or you can use them immediately for some sort of benefit that's printed on the card. You're going to continue doing this until the end of the 4th season, and like I said, whoever has the most points at the end will win the game. Now, I'll go over different ways to get points in a second, but throughout the seasons you're going to be flipping these. At the end of the... Whoops, I was supposed to be over there. Oh no. At the end of the 4th season is a little special. At the end of the 4th season, what you're going to do is you're going to have to use, you're going to have to count all of these. So to see whoever courts one of those. The person, so these ones here, the person with the purples, those would be double points. So whoever has the most in that and the most in these will be able to court one of them for final scoring. So that's pretty much how this board works. So there's the marriage one. But you're going to go through, you'll do each of the seasons, and then you'll finish here. And there's different events that can occur while you're going along. But one of the most important here is National Holiday. Because when you're playing cards, or you're playing these different tiles into your area, which I'll show you in a second, you have to look at the reputation level. This is reputation level 1. You have to look at the reputation level on these cards. except for your family members. And you can't play cards that are a higher reputation level than you are. So increasing this and keeping control of this is a big point of the game. So I did notice that you have 2 that are non-family members. At the beginning of the game, you get 2 of the basically 1 reputation level people, and some of them are very bad or unsavory people in the game. You know, like an American. It has a really bad negative side. And there's ways of getting rid of these cards, because look, this is -3 points at the end of the game. At the end of the game, you actually get points for the cards that are in your hand, and so these guys you don't want to keep in there. And you want to keep making that hand of cards better. Another thing I didn't mention is you're going to get 4 objective cards. And you're going to gain objective cards throughout the game and also be shedding them. In general, at the end of the game, you're going to have 3 objective cards. So you'll be able to tailor these and pick which ones you want, and you'll get points for these at the end of the game too. So don't forget about the objective cards. Now, we'll briefly go over each round. And like I said, you don't have a ton of rounds. And there's an extended play on the other side, which just basically gives 1 extra round per season. But in essence, what you're going to be doing is you're going to pick to either play one of these buildings or pass, pretty much. And when you play one of these buildings, what's going to happen is you're going to select the building and you're going to place it up here. Then you're going to take a look at the building, and you're going to say, okay, well, I need to have this person available. So I'll put this person available. He goes on there. And that will actually be able to activate the room, and you'll get a reward. Now, this room here, you get to hire servants from the supply, which are over here. You can get 2 of them. And another cool thing is at the end of the round, when this is done, this servant will go in the extended or expended service, and the tile will flip, and now it has a better ability. Notice the rose side. That is an example of just hiring more people, the new people that you hire. So let's say, for some reason I want to put them in, they would go here. At the beginning of every round, they're going to rotate service, so they'll go down. So that means that you can't actually use the same servants twice in a row. Other buildings that you can use are going to have different effects. So when you fulfill this, you'll get these rewards, but you'll also notice that you need to have guests for this. So this is going to be a party at the main gazebo. You need 2 gentry, and you will have to hire them, put a butler there. And you can look through your hand and select who you want. So let's say I want to play, these 2. And I may want to do these 2 because of the engine building reward that I get. But I also have to pay attention to, in this corner right here, if these people need to be taken care of during the party. So if I put these 2 people here, I can place this servant here, and at the end of the round, I'll get the points. But again, you have to pay attention to your reputation level. You can't play a building or a person that has a reputation level higher than your current reputation level. In addition to that, you can also do some of these abilities here. At the bottom of the board here, you can actually spend some of your reputation to do this. And this is important to talk about, because after you've set this, if your reputation's high enough, you're good. If you drop it before this resolves, you're still good. So I could spend 2 reputation to get 100 lira. I could spend 3 reputation to refresh this board, which will just clear it out and I put new tiles out. I can then go ahead and, oh, sorry, this refreshes 1 servant. I can do that as many times as I want. This 4 reputation will refresh the builder's hall market right there. So refreshing a servant means I can just move them 1 space over. I can do these top 2 as many times as I want, but I can only do the bottom 1 once per turn. And refreshing is simply going to be just returning all discarded cards to your hand. So those are the different actions you can take. One thing that I wanted to go over real quick is the rewards, the different rewards that you can get for hosting these parties and then the end of your turn. Okay, so there's going to be 3 different types of main rewards. and refreshing your butlers. Now, if you actually pull your hand back, all of your servants go back here. So that's this one. On a normal turn, though, you only get the first 3. The first is you're going to get the liras. So I have 100 liras here. You can add up the pluses and minuses, and then whatever you have, you get. Or you have to pay. Here's going to be your reputation. So this reputation. So right now I'm going to go up 3 reputation. So I go 1, 2, 3. And I would flip this to the 2 side. If it's negative, you would go backwards. You can't go below 1 reputation. That's the lowest you can go. However, you can you can play cards that cost you lose more than 1 reputation. That's fine, but you can't play cards that would mean at the end that you would owe money you don't have. So you have to keep that in mind. The last thing that you can have available is going to have, let's see if this type of symbol on it. And this type of symbol will, if it has a 1 or a 2, will mean new guests. So if it has a 1, you'll pull 1 off of here for as many as you have. If it has a 2, then you're going to pull off the 2 stack for as many of those as you have. And those are new guests that go into your hand that you can use on future rounds. And at the end of the turn, you have the option to buy cards from the Builder's Hall. If you have the money available, and you take this value minus or plus this value, and this is how much it costs. So this is 200 liras. Then you would place this tile in your country estate, and then it's now available. And you shift these tiles out and draw a new tile and put them out. And that's it for Builder's Market. Now, briefly, there's a couple different spaces to be aware of on the hall board here. You're going to have these village fair spaces. The village fair spaces lets players who have flipped the study, which is a specific tile, receive 2 reputation and 300 lira during step 2 of their order of play. So that is actually going to be during step 2, you'll be able to get that, which is really nice. This is your courtship event, which I talked about, where you have to add up whatever color is there, and whoever has the most gets to court one of the Fairchild children. You get more objective cards here, and Builder's Holiday is going to be one of the days it's going to move the cards over into this area, which is really nice. So this one here is going to take all the ones in the market reserve that are the blue tiles and put them in here, which is really nice because that clears out more stuff. Also, there's one that removes some of the level 1 cards, which is nice, so it just cleans it up as you go. National Holiday here is nice because on the National Holiday, you don't need to pay attention about reputation for your patrons that you have at your party. So the people that you play on here could be a higher reputation than you have available in the game. And that's basically it. So you're going to go through this game until you get to the end. You don't have a lot of turns, so your turns really matter. And then you're going to do final scoring. So you're going to get points or negative points for your tiles. You're going to get points for your characters, or negative points. You're going to, if you have specific objective cards here, you're going to score for these guys. You're going to also score for any tiles there's tiles that give you points at the end of the game. You're going to score for any of the victory point cards that you didn't use throughout the game. And you're going to get a very low amount of points for your lira. And you can get, it's basically 1 point per 200 lira that you would get on there. And whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins. So that's it. This is very, very brief. Let's go ahead back up to the table here and I'll give you my final thoughts on the game. Okay, so you can see in my long, short overview that this is a fairly complex game. It's not all that bad, but it's not a lightweight game. So it's pretty easy to actually learn, and the mechanics of a turn are pretty straightforward. And I really like how fast the game actually goes. And the more that you play it, the more in tune you are with what you need to do throughout the game. There's a big expansion to this, which I believe is called Upstairs Downstairs. I highly recommend you actually play through this base game multiple times, even if you own the copy of the expansion, before you even think about putting it in. You really need to know how to maximize those servants, how to use the gentry cards properly, how to use the different rooms and get moving with all that stuff, and just basically the overall mechanics and how they flow throughout the game. The game component quality is amazing. I love how they came with all the boxes to put all the families in, so you can just hand them out when you're ready to have a game night. I really like the wooden components that are shaped differently for each of the different servants. The period specific photos on the cards are amazing. Some of them are funny, like the cat. Really well done. If you like Jane Austen style stuff, or you like this time period, this is a game that you probably really want to check out. It's really well done, really fun, and it has a lot of replayability to it. Normally when you get something that's heavy, it is what it is, but this has a lot of replayability to it. There's a lot of different avenues that you can do to victory. There's a lot of different things you can do. Highly recommend it. And that's my thoughts on Obsession. Thank you for watching.